Hello students, welcome to Legacy IAS Academy. In today's video, we are going to discuss about a big news that was coming from South Korea, where the South Korean president has decided to declare an emergency martial law. So let us try to understand that what is the reason behind the declaration of martial law and whether such kind of declaration is normal in South Korea or is it something extraordinary. So first of all, to give you the brief context of this particular topic, the South Korean president, that is Yoon Suk Yeol, he has declared emergency martial law in an unannounced television address. That means people or the parliamentarians or the politicians of the South Korea were caught off guard as it was unannounced, and the reason behind this largely he has given is because of the activity of the opposition political parties or opposition politicians who he has claimed sympathizes with the causes of North Korea. As you know that North Korea and South Korea are in the perpetual state of conflict and war since a long time ago. And we can say that North Korea is a kind of enemy state as far as the South Korea is concerned. So the president has accused that the opposition members or opposition party members are having sympathy with the North Koreans, and they also have been paralyzing the government activities and are taking part participating in the anti-state activities. Now, what he has basically said in his televised address that through this martial law, he will rebuild and protect the Free Republic of Korea, which is falling into the depth of a national ruin. I will eliminate anti-state forces as quickly as possible and normalize the country, while he requested the public to tolerate some inconveniences that they might have to face due to the declaration of this particular martial law. Now, if you try to understand what basically the term martial law generally means, so in simple terms, we can say it simply is a displacement of the civilian government by the military rule and the suspension of civilian legal process for the military one. In simple terms, it is the military who takes over the entire administration of the country or the part of country where martial law is imposed. And if you talk about the effect it has on the general public, so the standard civil liberties that the people enjoy, the freedom, the rights that they enjoy in a democratic country, that are suspended for as long as this particular martial law continues. Now, as far as the constitution of South Korea is concerned, it has clearly mentioned a provision of the martial law under the Article 77, where it has said that the president of the South Korea is empowered to cope with a this basically announce or declare a martial law if there are two conditions. First condition, if there is a military necessity. For example, obviously we talk about if a country is embroiled in a state of war, that is the valid ground for the declaration of martial law in South Korea. But apart from the military necessity, the martial law can also be declared in the interest of public safety and order, and the president can mobilize the military forces in the time of armed conflict or similar national emergency. Now, if we particularly look at the wording of these provisions, we can see that in South Korea there is no such we can say situations that present itself today, despite that a martial law has been declared. Now, under extraordinary martial law, special measures may be taken with respect to the necessity for the warrants. That means the people can be arrested, freedom of speech, the press, assembly, all of their activities will be restricted, association of the people, or the powers of the executive and the judiciary under the conditions as prescribed by law. So all these undergo significant changes when the martial law, or as long as the martial law is in force. Now, if you talk about the Yonhap News Agency, which is one of the most reputable and notable news agency of South Korea, it has cited the military as saying that the activities by parliament and political parties would be banned as long as the martial law keeps on enforced. The media and publishers would be under the control of martial law commander or command. News agency also reported the MPs, that the member of parliament, are not being allowed to access the premises of the National Assembly in the Seoul. Now, National Assembly is a parliament building of the South Korea where the legislation are enacted and the laws are enacted. Now, the reason behind the declaration is also claimed to be personal, because as far as the latest National Assembly elections are concerned, the landslide win of the opposition party has been observed, and it has basically effectively made Yoon, the current president of South Korea, as a lame duck president. Why lame duck president? Because he cannot pass any law, any legislature, because in the case of South Korea, you have parliament, which is largely passing the law, and the president is the one who is also directly elected with the people of South Korea itself. So if suppose in the parliament you have the majority of other political parties and the president is coming from the different political parties, there will always be a tussle and disagreement, which also causes impasse in the legislative inaction. Moreover, apart from that, you talk about there has been a steady decline in his approval rating since his election in 2022, and it is largely because of the scandals that his family has been involved in. For example, you talk about the wife of the South Korean president. She has been accused of influence peddling. Influence peddling means using her own influence on her husband to enforce or to ensure certain decisions are taken in the benefit or in the for the advantage of certain section of people. Similarly, she also has been accused of corruption, where she has been involved in stock manipulation in the stock market and also receiving or accepting a very expensive gifts such as luxury Dior handbag, which has also made a big news headline in South Korea. Now, the opposition has been trying to launch a special investigation against her, and maybe to protect themselves against such kind of actions, he might have taken the recourse of the what you can call as the martial law. Again, to understand the overall current situation in the National Assembly of South Korea, so as we can see, the Democratic Party, which is represented here in the blue color, holds a majority, which is not the political party of South Korean president. The South Korean president come from the People Power Party, who currently are in minority, and that is why we have talked that a legislation is basically not being enacted in the way how president wants, or anything that basically he had to veto it, but he cannot enforce or he cannot ensure the passage of certain laws. Now, other reasons we talk about is the Yoon's conservative People Power Party had been locked in an impasse with a liberal opposition Democratic Party over the next year's budget bill also, where they're not coming up to the agreement. Simultaneously, the opposition has also moved to impeach three top prosecutors that has been appointed by the current South Korean president, and the president has described it as a vendetta against their criminal investigation on Lee Jae-myung. The person here is Lee Jae-myung. Now, he was the person who has contested against the current president of South Korea in the last election, and basically lost the presidential election in 2022, but is favorite to win the next time around 2027. It is in the face of these crises that Yoon has chosen what analysts are calling the nuclear option. The nuclear option obviously is referring to what we can call as the martial law. Now, if you look at the responses of the Yoon's declaration, so the declaration of martial law has come completely out of the blue. That means neither the opposition political parties or opposition politicians nor the members of his own political parties were aware of such decision being taken. If we talk about the people, the news report are saying that the streets look normal as of now and people are bewildered rather than anything else, largely because since 1980s, it is for the first time the martial law has been enacted in the South Korea. Now, the move, however, has invited unanimous criticism from South Korea's political establishment. This is also something you have to keep in mind, that even the president's own political party has criticized the decision of president to enact the martial law, and the People's Power Party leader Han Dong-hoon has called the declaration of martial law a wrong move and has vowed to block it. Now, how these politicians can block the martial law? So there also a provision has been made in the South Korean law that according to the law, the government must lift martial law if the majority of the National Assembly demand votes for its appeal or its repeal. That means we have discussed that you have a legislative system in South Korea made up of National Assembly, and then you have the executive system that is headed by the president. So even if the executive headed by president enacts the martial law, the National Assembly has been given the power to repeal such law if from majority they are majority they are able to do so. So South Korean MPs in the late night yesterday has unanimously voted against the imposition of martial law, and this was a midnight emergency session that was held in the National Assembly and has denounced the decision of president, and also they have said that we will impeach the president because he has abused his constitutional power for his own particular gain or particular benefit. So after the National Assembly has voted against the imposition of martial law, the president of South Korea has again given a statement where he has reversed his decision, and he said that we'll accept the National Assembly's request and lift the martial law through the cabinet meeting that will be held very soon.